Now, I think once you start using FlutterFlow, after a while, one of the questions you're going to have, well, how do I use FlutterFlow to build truly amazing, high quality apps? Because let's be honest, one of the first things that you're going to realize about FlutterFlow is that it's rather limited, right? You're given a certain set of widgets, you're given a certain set of controls, you're given a certain set of action, of logics, flows, and all that. And if you're trying to build a truly amazing production ready app, an app that's going to be used by thousands, tens of thousands, even millions of people worldwide, you want to stand out, right, in a sea of very, very similar apps. And so the question you might have is, how do I really build an amazing app with what FlutterFlow gives me? But the reality of it is that you can build pretty much any kind of app that you want with FlutterFlow. You're not limited in any way thanks to a ton, and I mean a ton of third-party widgets, extensions that do all kinds of amazing things. And so in today's video, I want to introduce you guys to 6 truly amazing widgets, extensions, whatever you want to call them, that you can use in your apps today that will make a difference, that will allow your app to truly stand apart in a sea of lookalikes. And then at the end of the video, I'll give you a bonus, another amazing extension that I'm sure you're going to find amazing use cases for, okay? And so here I am in FlutterFlow, right? And so when you are browsing just FlutterFlow, just by itself, just the standard stuff, you're going to see that, yeah, you're given, a bunch of, elements, commonly used elements, layout elements, stuff like that. You also have YouTube calendar, but they're not that customizable, right? They're nice for basic stuff, right? Truly basic stuff. But if you want to take it a step further, you got to go find a custom extension, either code one or find one that already does what you want and adapt it to your app. And so here in FlutterFlow, I already built a proof of concept app that uses some amazing extensions. And so what I'm going to do here is, instead of running this app here in FlutterFlow, I'm going to run it on an iOS simulator. And so that way you see that this is truly, iOS ready. And it's also going to run on Android as well. No problems there. But at least you're going to see exactly how it's going to run on a simulator. And if it runs on a simulator, you can bet 100% it's going to run on a real mobile device, such as an iPhone, an iPad, or your Android device as well. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to click over here and I'm going to copy this command. And that's going to allow me to take all of this code that I have with all of these custom widgets that I have already built and get them on my local machine, on my laptop, so that I can run them in the simulator or even on a real device if I want. Now, the next thing that I need to do is I need to open an IDE. I'm actually using Cursor here, but I'm not paying for Cursor. I'm just using it as an IDE. You can also use Visual Studio Code as well. They're absolutely free. You can download this for free. You can download Visual Studio Code for free as well. And what you want to do is you want to paste this command that you've just copied inside of FlutterFlow. And that's going to go ahead and download your app and unzip it here. And that is exactly what I did. Okay, so I already have this app over here. So as you can see, it's already here. And so all I need to do is I need to simply do flutter pub get. That's going to go ahead and build up my app. And once I do that, I am ready to actually run this app. Now, since I'm going to be running it on an iOS simulator, I want to make sure that I have it running. And if you don't have an iOS simulator, you can just download it for free, or you can test it on an Android simulator. So I have this running, and now all I need to do is I need to click here and I need to select it. Okay, I have a bunch of other devices here. I also have Android devices. So I'm going to select the 16 Pro Max simulator here, and I'm going to run it. And once I do, I'm going to have this running in my simulator. And so the first custom widget that I want to share with you guys is a download manager. Okay, so if you're building any kind of app that relies on the user downloading stuff, you don't want to just hand it off to them without any status, without any updates, or anything like that. You want to give them a nice polished interface. And so here I have a download manager that works with multiple files. It's all absolutely configurable. And by the way, all of these custom extensions that I'm going to be showing to you guys today, you can configure them in any way that you want. They accept tons and tons of parameters so that you can customize them exactly for your specific use case. Okay, and so what's nice about this extension here is that you can simply give it a list of files that the user needs to download that you can let the user manage, and then the user can simply download them, right? So if I click over here, it starts downloading and it's already downloaded, right? So it's showing the status over here, okay? I can do this and that's gonna do it again. I can pause if it's if it's a long running download, maybe a big file, I can also pause. I can start another download, right? This is a very, very cool extension if you're building an app where a user is going to be downloading multiple files, right? So think something like a PDF generator or some kind of an app that does some work and gives the user the output, maybe image manipulation where they need to download images, they need to download a PDF, maybe a spreadsheet, maybe a CSV file. It's a lot better to give them this polished interface instead of just having them click a link and not knowing what's happening with their download, right? You got to agree with that. And so what exactly is this extension and how exactly did I configure it? Well, if we go back here, I want to first show you the extension, right? So if you head over to pub.dev, you can simply search for background downloader, okay? And this extension is super popular. 62,000 downloads, right? Very, very popular. It's a background file downloader and uploader for iOS, Android, macOS, Windows, and Linux, right? So supports a ton of platforms and works really, really well, okay? And you can kind of read more about it. But let me jump into the app and let me show you exactly how you can use this extension, right? So I have this page here, right here, and I have this widget here using. And I have this widget here set up. And like I said before, it's so configurable, right? You can give it download URL. So I just gave it like a Pexels, an image from pexels.com just to test out. But you can do Wi-Fi only. You can set primary color, background color. You can have auto start. And then most importantly, you get these callbacks. And what's nice about these callbacks is that they notify your app when something happens, right? Because if you think about the widget itself, this widget, it's kind of a self-contained app, right? It's self-contained, but we are integrating it with our FlutterFlow app using these callbacks, right? So we're sending these parameters to tell the widget how to behave, how to do its thing, essentially. But then we tell it, hey, these are the parameters, start doing your work, but don't forget to let me know what's happening. And it does that via these callbacks, right? On download progress, on download status change. And all you need to do is open it, select callback, and then you can create a whole, flow here, right? With this familiar FlutterFlow interface, right? Really, really nice. Flow edit, on download status change, on file downloaded, on error, right? So it's super customizable, which means that you never have to dig into this code and figure out how it works and how to customize it and all that, okay? So that's the first extension that I want to show you guys. Now, the second extension is actually one of my favorite extensions that I have seen lately, right? And this is an image editor, right? But not just any image manipulation tool. This is actually a very, very sophisticated, right? It's a pro image editor, right? So we have a sample image that you can configure. And once you have a sample image, well, you can edit this image or you can do a reload. I'm going to click on edit image, and you can edit this image in so many ways right from your device here, right? So what do you want to do? Well, let's say I want to add text. I can just click on text over here and I can add text. Hello world. Okay. And I can click out, I can click back, and I can drag it, right? I can drag all of that. I can drag down. I can drag here. I can double click. I can change the colors. Look at that. I can change the text. Okay. And that's just one feature, right? I can crop and rotate. Look at that. I can, set up this crop here. I can crop it this way. I can crop it this way. I can rotate. I can reset it. Okay, then I can get out over here. I can tune it, right? Look at this. I can change brightness, contrast, saturation, exposure. Look at that. Overexpose it, underexpose it, temperature, hue, whatever. And if I like it, I can save it, or I can click here to get out, right? And I can do tuning. I have filters. Look at all of these filters here. Really, really nice. blurring. I can make it, I can add a little bit of blurring there, right? Look at these real-time previews. Let's see, I have emojis, stickers, you name it, right? This is a feature-packed image editing tool, which I think is absolutely amazing, right? So you can click here, and that's gonna save it, image save. Look at that, right? And so now I have a brand new image, and then with addition to that downloader, you can have them download this image. They can queue it, download multiple images, and then you can easily, and this way you can easily build a cool image editing app, okay? So how does this work? Well, let me show you. So here it is on FlutterFlow, right? I'm using this Pro Image Editing, and look at all these things that you can configure, right? We can have primary color, background color, image URL, right? Auto load, all of these options. Look at this, init font size, max blur, you name it. Look at all of these callbacks, right? You can pretty much do anything that you want inside of FlutterFlow, okay? And the image widget that we're using, this image editor, is called Pro Image Editor. Okay, and this is again very, very popular. And look at the popularity; it's growing like a wildfire. Look at that growth over there. 27,000 downloads, super awesome. You can do a ton of things. Check out the documentation, and better yet, try it out yourself. Really, really amazing. One of my favorite custom widgets that I have discovered as of late. Now, the next widget that I want to show you is going to be useful if you want to display rich content in your app. So things like HTML, CSS. And this actually has a lot of use cases, right? Because you can display HTML, CSS web pages, HTML, CSS mockups right in your app. So let's say you're building an app that generates mockups or needs to preview pages, or you're building some kind of an HTML, CSS editor that needs a preview. Well, you're going to be using this plugin here, okay? So we have some sample data over here, right? But you can kind of click around and you're seeing some of the things that it's able to render, right? We have interactive content here, clickable links, data display, all of these cool stuff here that you can easily display. Now, let me show you how this works. So the plugin that we're using is called Simple HTML CSS, also a very, very popular plugin, over 50,000 downloads, right? Super, super popular. And so the idea here is that you're going to be giving it sample HTML content with inline CSS styles. Okay, so not just HTML, not just, vanilla HTML. You can actually style it with inline CSS. Okay, so like what we have here. And that essentially renders, right? So all of this is going to render into this, right? So you see that, here it says hello world, and you have these styles: color white, font size 50 pixels, font style italic, background color, font weight, etc., etc. And this is how it displays. And so if we jump back to our Flutter app, this is where it is, right? This is this rich content viewer. And if I select it, you can also customize it, right? Primary color, background color, initial content key. You can do all of these cool things here, show status message, show callback log, content loaded, on linked tab, on render error. You have all of these cool callbacks that you can use. And as a result, it looks really good, right? You have this callback that says ready. When it takes a little bit longer, let's say you're trying to render something more complex, it's going to do that. And so this is really nice for those apps that need to display HTML with inline CSS styles, which is a lot of apps that need to maybe preview some HTML pages, doing mock-up generation, maybe show take a save a website, one of those screenshot tools where you need to save it in HTML format, preview to the user. And so lots and lots of cool applications and a very, very cool extension that you can use in your apps. Now, the next extension that I want to show you is a sister of the previous extension. But instead of simply displaying and kind of showing you the existing HTML, this extension allows you to actually edit HTML, okay? This is an HTML editor extension. And what you get is you get this text box where you can start typing. So let's say I type, hey, I can click over here and I can format it, okay? I can change the font, I can change the styles, I can change this, I can make it bigger, smaller. stuff like that. And so let's say I click on get text over here, it initializes. And so let's say I type something, hey, text me, and I do clear, editor cleared, right? Got text content, right? Or I can click on insert, and that will insert some text over here. And all of this is absolutely customizable, okay? And so if we go back to FlutterFlow, the editor that I'm using is called HTML Editor Enhanced. And it also has nearly 30,000 downloads, super, super popular, and lots of options, right? So this was just a small preview. In fact, I probably didn't even show you the whole thing. If I scroll over, you can see that there's more stuff, okay? So I didn't show you that because I didn't see it myself, but it has a bunch of other things. Look at this. I can change the colors. I can change the text color. I can change the background color. I can do left justify, center. I can do links. I can do videos, right? All of this. And I can have even more stuff. All of these styles, all kinds of cool things. Video examples, light mode, toolbar, dark mode, etc., etc. Really, really cool. And you can use it in your apps, okay? And so let me go back to FlutterFlow, show you how it's done. So if we click over here, we have this HTML editor. And so here I have my initial HTML content, and you can easily pull any content that you want to show from a database or from the user, anywhere that you want, from an API. We have this hint, we have this editor height, we have this all of these options: show toolbar, show activity logs, activity log height, action buttons, autofocus, and then we have all of these cool callbacks, right? Content change, editor ready, focus change, etc. And all you need to do is click here, and in this case, I'm just doing a show snack bar, right? So whenever content changes, it shows a snack bar, but you can do anything that you want, right? That's the beauty of these callbacks. So once again, super customizable, super useful extension that you can use in all kinds of apps, right? You're not just limited to FlutterFlow's extension. You can use very, very powerful extensions as well. Now, the next widget that I want to share with you is a file selector, okay? So this is going to be useful for those cases where you need to have a user select a file to upload, right? We have a download manager and also an upload manager, but now we have a file selector, and this is super, super important, right? So must have if you're building apps where you need a user to upload stuff, to select a file, to provide the file to your app, okay? This is the file selector demo, and you can click this, and that's going to select the file. So I'm using the simulator. I don't have any files at all. Obviously, if you try it on your own device, you're going to be seeing files. So that's selecting one file. You can also click here, selecting multiple files, and that's going to allow you to select multiple files, okay? So let's go back and let me show you exactly the widget. So the widget that I'm using is File Selector, right? Supports all platforms, over 136,000 downloads, super popular, not just, some unknown, some widget that you've never heard about, right? Super popular. And it's super powerful, right? Because you can specify what kind of files that you want the users to be able to provide to the app. Is it images? Is it maybe text files? Is it like code files, right? Super, super powerful, right? You can kind of read more about it here, but let me go back to FlutterFlow and I can show you how I have it set up. So this is the widget right here. If I select it, you can see that, we have our primary color, background color, we have our filter type. Right here, you can specify what kind of files that you're interested in. And here you can specify show single file button, show multiple file buttons. These should be probably on. Show directory button, show save location button. And here you have the names. I just put some random letters, right? This is a single file button text, single, multiple, directory, save location, button height. 50 button spacing 1, and then you have your callbacks on file selected, on multiple file, on directory, etc., etc. So if they select something, your app will know about it. It will know what the file is, right? It will get that information, the file name, the data, etc., etc. So you can act upon it, right? So a really, really cool widget, and definitely a must-have if you're dealing with files, right? So if you're building an app that allows users to maybe upload an image for image editing, image manipulation, right? You want to use this. If you're building an app maybe to analyze reports, right? Maybe upload some XLS, use AI to analyze those files and give you a report. Tell you what the file is about, give you some trends, summary, if you will, right? Any kind of an app where you need to have some kind of file interaction, this is the widget that you want to be using. You typically do not want to be using the built-in widgets because they're so basic, right? It's nice that FlutterFlow has provided them, but they're just too basic. So you definitely want to be using this widget here, okay? Now, the next widget that I want to show you is actually a really cool widget, okay? And this is a widget that's called a secure wall demo. And in fact, you already can see a very cool feature, okay? So you see it says here Face ID, and that is because I have this enhanced security turned on. So it's asking me for my face. And so what I'm going to go is I'm going to go over here. I'm going to go into features. I'm going to say matching face. And that's going to go ahead and turn this off, right? And so the idea with this widget is that you can also disable that. And now you have just regular security. This is the standard mode where you do not need to ask the user for authentication, right? Whether it's Face ID, Touch ID. And so what happens here is that you can store data securely on the device using the particular platforms APIs, their particular APIs. So with iOS, you have this special kind of secure keychain API or key something API that you can use. With Android, it's another type of API, very secure. So you're not saving it just on the device and some, readable text files or something like that, or some database out there. You're using the standard way to do it. And let me show you how this works. So if let's say I want to add a credential. So let's say this is Gmail, and let's say my username is James. And let's say I have Gmail, I have username James, and I have password James, and I want to add a credential. And so I've added the credential. And now if you scroll down, you can see you have this credential here, and now it's stored and secure. And so now what I can do is I can click over here. That's going to ask me for Face ID. Okay. So I'm going to go into features, Face ID, matching face. I've confirmed it. And now it retrieved it, right? Retrieved it from secure storage. If I turn this on and I do that again, and I go into features, Face ID, non-matching face, it's going to give me an error, face not recognized, right? So it's mimicking, this iOS simulator is mimicking how a real person might be using this device, right? So try ID. So we're going to try that again. So I'm going to exit out. So it says authentication error, right? So I'm going to do that again. And now Face ID, we're going to go into features, matching face. And now it's secure. Now it retrieved one item from storage, right? Because we're in this enhanced mode. Really cool widget. I really like that aspect of using enhanced authentication, right? Whether it's Touch ID or Face ID, depending on the device, right? I'm using iPhone 16 Pro Max simulator, which does not have Touch ID. It only has Face ID. So if you're using an older device that has only Touch ID, you will be mimicking Touch ID in that case, okay? But in any case, it's a really cool widget because you are getting like industry standard ways of saving sensitive data. And you can also add enhanced security, okay? So which widget are we using? Well, the widget that we're using is this widget called Flutter Secure Storage. And this has 2 million downloads, okay? This may be the most popular widget that I have reviewed, that I have talked about on this channel. More than 2 million downloads, right? 2,070,000 downloads, okay? Super popular. And so as you can see, keychain is used for iOS. AES encryption is used for Android, right? Super standard, right? It's standard stuff. So it's not using just some ad hoc files or like some SQLite database to store your stuff. Real standard stuff, really nice, and you have this enhanced security that makes it even better. So really cool widget. Let's jump back into FlutterFlow and let me show you how I have it set up. This is what I have here. And so we have all of these features: use enhanced security, show security settings, show status messages, and you can toggle this on, turn this off, and that's going to force enhanced security, right? And then we have max credentials, and then we have all of these callbacks: uncredential added, uncredentialed deleted, undata cleared, etc., right? Super customizable, allows you to do all kinds of cool things. Really, really nice extension, okay, that I definitely recommend if you're building an app that needs to store sensitive user data, right? Because you want to be using the standard APIs to do it. You don't want to be, just, creating your own way, reinventing the wheel, if you will. You want to be using a standard way that the platform encourages you to use. And last but not least, I want to show you a custom extension that you can use in your apps depending on what kind of app that you're building. And this is a clipboard manager, okay? So how does this work? Well, it says here current clipboard content, right? And we don't have any clipboard content right now, but we can create some. So let's say it's like, hey, I can copy this. And now we have current clipboard content, and we also have a clipboard history. And I can go back and I can actually paste it, right? So you see, I can actually paste this text over here because it's part of my clipboard that I'm sharing with pretty much all my apps here. And I can do the same. I can copy sample, hello from Super Clipboard. We have it here. I can go back here and I can paste it here. Okay. So it's a very, very cool extension that you may have use for depending on what kind of app that you're building. Okay. Now it's not going to be useful for all the apps, but just knowing that you have the ability to also, access the clipboard and do all kinds of things, copy paste from the clipboard, is also a useful thing, okay? And so which extension is this? So if we come back to pub.dev, the extension is called Clipboard, aptly named, and this extension has over 127,000 downloads, super popular, which tells me that it has lots of use cases that I haven't really thought about yet, right? At first glance. And so it's a powerful Flutter package that provides comprehensive clipboard functionality with rich text support, monitoring, and advanced features. And so, clipboard is one of those things that is very powerful, but also kind of hard to manage, right? I actually use a clipboard manager from time to time to kind of help me go back in my, in my clipboard history and see what were some of the other clipboard snippets that I pasted into my clipboard so that I can reuse them, right? So it's one of those things that you do not know how useful it is until you realize that you can use it. You can leverage it to your advantage. Okay, so here are all the features. Now, I actually built this clipboard as a separate app. Okay, it's actually not a FlutterFlow app, it's a Flutter app. Okay, so I do not have it implemented here, but if you guys want me to create a widget, I will be creating a widget at some point. If you guys want me to create a widget, let me know in the comments below and I will do so. Okay. And so I really hope that you enjoyed these custom extensions that I've shared with you guys today. I know that when I first discovered them, I thought that they were super powerful and I immediately started to brainstorm and think of ideas where I can leverage these extensions, different apps, different types of tools, maybe stuff like that, because several of these extensions are like evergreen extensions. You can use them in all kinds of apps, like a file picker or an uploader. There are different types of apps that can leverage these types of extensions, whereas other extensions are more niche types, right? They're more specific for specific types of apps. But nevertheless, the most important thing is knowing that they exist, right? Even if you're not going to be using them right now today, it's knowing that they exist. And the best way to leverage them, the best way to put them to good use is by joining our amazing Patreon community. Because when you join our amazing Patreon community, you're going to gain access to this main app here where you can easily view this app, duplicate it on your computer, and start leveraging these extensions in your own apps. You can see exactly how I have it set up, and they're super customizable. That means you can get started right away without tinkering with the source code. And you can also leave a comment in our amazing community, asking questions, making requests, letting me know if you have any issues. Maybe you have another extension that you want me to review, another extension that you want me to kind of talk about on this channel. You can do all of that in our amazing Patreon community. And by the way, when you join our amazing Patreon community, you're not only going to gain access to this app, you're going to gain access to all of my previous apps, as well as all my future apps. And plus, when you join our amazing community, you're going to be part of our community, which means access to amazing people who are building apps, access to support, access to a lot of resources. And above and beyond that, you're going to be supporting this channel and supporting my work. So if that sounds like something that you might be interested in, definitely check out our amazing Patreon community via the first link in the description below the video.